Ever had a small thought snowball into a storm in your mind? Imagine you text a friend and they don't reply for hours. Instantly, your mind starts whispering, "They're ignoring you. You must have upset them. You're a bad friend." Before you know it, that one unanswered text has spiraled into a cascade of anxiety and self-doubt. This is the hidden trap of negative thinking, and it's more common than you might think. In fact, psychologists have a name for these involuntary, habitual thought patterns that skew toward the bad. Automatic negative thoughts, or ANTs. These ANTs focus on the negative, exaggerate problems, or predict disaster, distorting our perspective of reality. We often accept them as truth without question, allowing them to hijack our emotions. The real danger is that we usually don't realize this is happening. We might blame the situation, the silent phone, the offhand comment, the tough day, for how we feel. But as one therapist wisely noted, our emotions do not come from the situation. They come from how we think about the situation. In other words, it's our interpretation of events, not the events themselves, that generates our feelings. If you interpret your friend's silence as rejection, or your boss's critique as a personal failure, you trigger a wave of hurt or anxiety inside yourself. Modern psychology illustrates this as the anxiety cycle. There's an external trigger, then your mind interprets it as a threat, and that interpretation launches your fight or flight response. Your heart races, your stomach tightens, not because a text or comment can physically harm you, but because your brain believes this is dangerous or catastrophic. Let's be clear, negative thinking is not a personal failing. It's often our brain's way of protecting us. Human minds are wired with a negativity bias, a leftover survival mechanism to spot threats and avoid harm. But in everyday life, this bias backfires, making us see danger in a critical email or failure in a single setback. Over time, these thoughts become an invisible cage. They breed self-doubt, anxiety, even depression. They feed on themselves. One negative thought leads to an anxious feeling, which leads to more negative thoughts like, "See, I knew I'd mess up," and the cycle continues. You might recognize some of these common poisonous thoughts. "I'm such a failure. No one really cares about me. I'm never going to be good enough. Everyone is judging me." Just hearing those words can make you feel a bit heavy or hopeless. Now imagine the weight of thinking them about yourself all day long. Over time, if we let these negative loops run unchecked, they can actually change our brain and behavior. Studies show that chronic stress and negative thought patterns can shrink certain brain areas, like the hippocampus, which is crucial for mood and memory. It sounds dire, but here's the amazing part. Your brain is plastic. It can change, heal, and rewire at any age. As neuroscientists have discovered, when you change the way you think, you can actually change the physical structure of your brain. In other words, the same mechanism that allows negative habits to form in the brain also allows positive change. The very fact that negative thinking can grow stronger with practice means positive thinking can too. If you feel trapped by your own thoughts, remember Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived the Holocaust. He observed, "Between the stimulus and response there is a space, and in that space lies our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." Even in the worst conditions imaginable, Frankl found freedom in how he chose to think. This truth is powerful. You have a say in how you react to your thoughts. There is a space in your mind where you can stop the automatic reaction and decide a different course. So, let's talk about how to do that. How to avoid drowning in negative thoughts and instead break free from this cycle. The good news is that negative cycles can be broken. No matter how deep or long-standing your habit of negative thinking is, you can train your mind to turn a different way. The solution lies in a simple but life-changing skill: cognitive reframing. This is a technique from modern psychology, specifically cognitive behavioral therapy, that means consciously changing the way you interpret a situation. In plain terms, reframing is about catching that negative thought and flipping it to see a new perspective, one that is more realistic, more positive, or more constructive. It's not about lying to yourself or just being positive for the sake of it. It's about being objective and kind to yourself, the way you would be to a good friend. How does this work in practice? Let's walk through it step by step. 1. Catch the thought. The first step is awareness. You can't change what you don't notice. Start paying attention to your mind's commentary, especially in moments you feel upset or anxious. What are you telling yourself? It might help to write these thoughts down. Often, they fly by so fast, we only catch the emotional result, feeling bad, but not the cause, the thought. So pause and identify the exact negative sentence in your head. I messed up the presentation. I'm sure everyone thinks I'm incompetent. Shine a light on it. 2. Take a step back. Remember that you are not your thoughts. Just because a thought appears in your mind doesn't mean it's true. Treat it like a hypothesis, not a fact. Sometimes I tell people to imagine their negative thought as a pushy salesman on the street corner of your mind. Like someone hawking cheap goods, shouting for your attention. You don't have to stop and buy what they're selling. In the same way, when a thought says, "You're not good enough," you can step back and say, "Oh, there's that negativity trying to sell me something miserable. Do I have to accept this? Nope." Creating this little mental distance, often by literally saying to yourself, "I'm having the thought that I'm not good enough," instead of "I'm not good enough," already weakens the thought's grip. It shifts you from feeling the thought to observing it. 3. Challenge the thought. Now, engage your rational mind and ask questions. Is this thought really accurate? What evidence actually supports it? And what evidence goes against it? Our automatic negative thoughts rarely hold up under scrutiny. They're extreme, one-sided, and ignore other possibilities. For example, if the thought is, "I messed up at work, I'll never succeed," challenge that. Did you really mess up everything, or just one thing? Have you also had successes or gotten praise at other times? What would you say to a friend who had this worry? You might realize you're predicting disaster without proof, or calling yourself a failure over one mistake. By interrogating the thought, you're using the power of reason to puncture the exaggeration and doom and gloom that the negative thought is selling you. This is where you apply a bit of that System 2 thinking, the slow logical analysis, to counter the quick, emotional System 1 panic that spawned the negative thought in the first place. 4. Reframe to a balanced thought. Now that you've seen the original thought isn't entirely fair or accurate, replace it with a more balanced perspective. Ask yourself, is there another way to look at this? In the work example, a reframed thought might be, "Yes, that presentation wasn't my best, but I learned what to improve. One meeting doesn't define my entire career. I've done well in the past, and I can do better next time." Notice this isn't blind Pollyanna positivity. It's a grounded reframe. You're acknowledging the challenge, but also reminding yourself of the bigger picture and your capacity to grow. By doing this, you've broken the automatic link between the event, a not great presentation, and your identity, "I'm a failure." You've taken back control of the story in your mind. 5. Take a positive action, no matter how small. This step seals the deal. It's about breaking the behavior part of the cycle. Negative thoughts often make us withdraw, procrastinate, or do things that reinforce the negativity. For instance, you feel down, so you isolate yourself, which makes you feel even more alone. To flip this script, act against the negative prophecy. Do something constructive or self-affirming immediately, even if it's tiny. Think of it as creating momentum. If you've been lying on the couch flooded by gloom, get up and tidy one small area of your room or go take a quick shower. If you're anxious about that work mistake, take 10 minutes to outline a plan to fix it or learn a new skill. This works wonders because action breaks the paralysis of overthinking. As one inspirational speaker noted, it only takes one thought or one action to create a new positive loop and start shifting your energy. By doing something positive, however small, you prove to your brain that the day is not ruined, that you are not powerless. It's the first domino in a new chain. Often, one action leads to the next, and you gradually build a positive cycle in place of the old negative one. Each time you practice these steps, you are essentially doing mental kung fu with your automatic thoughts, to borrow a fun term therapists use. You're retraining your mind. At first, it takes effort, but with repetition, it becomes more natural and quick. Over time, those once automatic negative thoughts lose their dominance. They might still pop up, we're only human after all, but they no longer run the show because now you have a way to respond. You can feel the negative emotion, catch the thought causing it, and pivot to a healthier outlook. This is how you break free. Why does reframing our thoughts have such a powerful effect? Because it taps into how our brains operate on a fundamental level. Remember those two modes of thinking, the fast automatic system 1 and the slow deliberate system 2. When you feel a surge of anxiety or negativity, that's system 1 in the driver's seat, reacting instantly with fear or judgment. It's lightning fast and often useful for real dangers, but it's prone to errors. It sees a stick and thinks it's a snake. By consciously pausing and engaging system 2, your rational, analytical side, you give yourself a chance to correct those errors. You create that space between stimulus and response Frankl talked about, where you can choose a better response. This is essentially the basis of cognitive behavioral therapy and many modern behavioral science insights. We can train our thinking processes to counteract biases and false alarms our intuition throws at us. In the context of negative thinking, system 1 might toss out a thought like, "Nobody likes me," the moment something goes wrong. If we don't question it, we emotionally react as if that thought is true. Sadness, loneliness, maybe we withdraw. But by recruiting system 2, we can respond, "Hold on, that's an exaggeration. I have friends and family who care about me. This one incident doesn't mean I'm unloved." Immediately, the emotional intensity drops. You've essentially talked your inner panic off the ledge. Another reason reframing works is because it changes what psychologists call your cognitive schema, the mental lens through which you view the world. If your schema says, "I'm not good enough," or "the world is dangerous," you'll interpret everything through that dark filter. Reframing bit by bit cleans the filter. It shifts your mindset towards schemas like, "I'm capable," or "I can handle challenges," or "people are kinder than I assume." And when those positive or balanced schemas strengthen, a virtuous cycle kicks in. Your new mindset will start looking for evidence of good, and you'll perceive situations differently, leading to calmer emotions and better outcomes, which further reinforces your new, healthier thinking. In effect, you are rewiring your thought habits. Neuroscience confirms this. As you practice new thought patterns and actions, neural pathways corresponding to them get stronger, and the old pathways weaken from disuse. This is neuroplasticity in action, the brain's ability to adapt and change like a muscle that grows with exercise. You're literally transforming a mind that used to chain itself in negativity into one that defaults to resilience. It's also worth noting the time dimension of breaking negative thinking. Bad thoughts often trap us in a distorted time warp. We ruminate on the past. "I shouldn't have done that. I always mess up." Or we fear the future. "Everything will go wrong. I just know it." All while ignoring the present moment's possibilities. To really overcome this, it helps to align all parts of your mind, past, present, and future, in a healthy feedback loop. Think of it this way. You have the ability to reason in the present. Let's call that your clear-headed logic. The ability to draw on your memory of the past, lessons learned, times you overcame challenges. The ability to anticipate the future, imagine outcomes and set goals. And the ability to adapt, change course when circumstances shift. When you use all four, you're making decisions with your whole mind engaged. In fact, a new framework called the theory of virtue describes this as a cycle of decision-making across time. Reason, memory, anticipation, adaptability working together. Here's how that plays out in avoiding negative thinking. In the present moment, use your reason to question and dismantle the negative thought. Then, tap into memory. Recall a past victory or a lesson that puts things in perspective. I felt useless last year when I was unemployed, but eventually I found a job and learned a lot about myself in the process. Next, engage anticipation. Envision a positive outcome, or at least a realistic, hopeful scenario. If I stop doubting myself, I could take on this new project, and maybe it will open doors for me. This future-oriented thinking steers you toward what you do want, not what you fear. Finally, exercise adaptability. Be willing to change your approach or try something different right now. Let me reach out to a colleague for feedback. or sign up for that class to improve my skills. Adaptability is the courageous action in the face of uncertainty. It's what keeps you moving instead of paralyzed. When you cycle through these faculties, you've essentially created a powerful loop that propels you out of the mental quicksand. It's like having 4 allies pulling you forward instead of just one. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. You start doing this in small, everyday situations. A delayed train doesn't ruin your day because you reason it out. I can't control this, might as well use the time to read. Remember perspective, I've handled worse delays. Anticipate a good outcome. Maybe I'll arrive a bit late, but it's okay. And adapt on the fly, perhaps texting ahead to reschedule or taking a different route. Bit by bit, you build resilience. This is not just pop psychology. It's a synthesis of timeless wisdom and modern science. Cultures and philosophies throughout history have hinted at these ideas of aligning the mind. And now we have psychological research and even computational models that back it up. The key takeaway is that negative thinking is not an unchangeable trait. It's a mental habit loop, and like any habit, it can be understood and improved. You now have a framework for understanding that loop and tools to interrupt it. We've covered a lot of ground. From understanding the trap of automatic negative thoughts to learning how to reframe them, to seeing how this engages different parts of your mind for lasting change. Now it's time for the most important part: action. Knowledge alone won't change your life. Applying it will. So here's your challenge moving forward. The next time you notice yourself feeling anxious, defeated, or angry, pause and find the thought behind that feeling. Spend a moment to question that thought and practice reframing it using the steps we discussed. Even if it feels awkward at first, give it a try. For example, if you catch yourself thinking, "I'll never get better at this," stop and reframe it to, "If I keep practicing, I will improve." Everyone starts somewhere. Immediately, you'll likely feel a shift, a small relief or determination. That is you taking back control from the negative cycle and starting a positive one. Make this a daily practice. Some people put a reminder on their phone or sticky notes on their mirror with a message like "challenge negative thoughts" or an empowering rebuttal to a usual worry. Do whatever keeps it real for you. The goal is to build a new habit where your default response to an upsetting thought is no longer to bow to it, but to question it and choose a better response. With time, you'll find that what once felt overwhelmingly true, "I can't handle this," now feels flimsy and even absurd when it pops up, because you've proven it wrong again and again. To support you in this journey, know that you're not alone and there are resources to help. The Babalero project, which I'm a part of, is actually building practical tools to help people align their thinking and decision-making using this very model we discussed, the theory of virtue framework. Our mission is to take these principles of reason, memory, anticipation, and adaptability and turn them into simple exercises and tech tools that anyone can use to improve their mindset and choices. If you're curious to understand more about this approach or want to dive deeper into the science and philosophy behind it, we have a free TOV PDF available on our website that explains the model in depth. I invite you to download it. It's free, no strings, and see how it resonates with you. Finally, if this message struck a chord with you, I encourage you to share it with someone else who might benefit. We all know someone who tends to be hard on themselves or caught in a negative loop. You sharing a video or even just these ideas could be the nudge that helps them start changing their own narrative. Together, we can create a ripple effect of positivity. Just as negative thinking can spread and affect those around us, positive thinking and resilience can also spread and uplift others. Be that source of light not only for others but for yourself every single day. Remember, the thoughts in your head are powerful, but you are always more powerful than your thoughts. You have the ability to decide what meaning you give to life's events. You can choose to see setbacks as lessons, criticism as feedback, and moments of loneliness as an opportunity to reconnect with yourself and others. Every time you make that choice, you're not just avoiding a moment of negativity, you're training your mind toward a future of greater peace, confidence, and happiness. So starting today, catch those ants before they bite and replace them with thoughts that build you up. Take that small positive action that breaks the chain of despair and forges a new chain of hope. You have the tools, you have the power, and now you have the knowledge. All that's left is to use it. Go forward and practice this in your life, even for just a week, and see the difference it makes. Chances are you'll start feeling lighter, more in control, and more yourself than you have in a long time. Thank you for watching and listening. Take care of your mind, because it's truly the key to everything else. I hope this helps. Now it's your turn. Go out there and break that cycle. You've got this. What do you think? Comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if this video helped you even a little, like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.